Okay. Well, Bill Gates wants to give cows vaccines to produce less methane, and he's framing this as his new moderate take on climate change. So remember when Bill Gates warned that climate change would be humanity's greatest threat, the hardest challenge we'll ever face as human beings, he said. Well, he doesn't believe that anymore, he says, after scaring the crap out of people and the media letting him do it unchecked. Now he's here to say this on his personal blog. This is the title. He calls it 3 Truths. The truths he's about to drop on us are things that serious climate researchers have been saying for years, and he has spent money to bury in the media. But okay, he's come around. It's not catastrophe anymore. You don't have to have climate anxiety. You'll see why he's doing this in a minute, but I'm going to spoil it for you. He wants to sell livestock vaccines and additives to their food in order to get you to eat meat again because he can make money off of it. Here's truth number 1. He says climate change is a serious problem, but will not be the end of civilization. You guys, calm down. That's not what he was saying just 4 years ago. Remember this 60 Minutes piece? I can't play it for you because 60 Minutes always gives us a copyright strike. But what he told Anderson Cooper was that this will be the toughest challenge humanity has ever faced. Absolutely. He said he told Anderson Cooper he wanted to change everything in the physical world. So they sat in a hamburger shop and he was like, yeah, I'm going to change the way your food is served, the way the furniture is, the way we water plants, the way we use tractors. Like literally, I want to change everything. See him here laughing like, yeah, I want everything. I want to take everything you know and love and change everything for climate change. That's literally what he said. Now he thinks, well, that's, not really necessary. He said we needed to do that if we're going to get to zero. And again, I have this screenshot for you proving that he said it. Yeah, I'm going to change your whole world. Unelected, but he gave himself the power to do it. What do you want to say?
A long story in our chat room says Gates is no longer relevant. He needs to go away. Long story. I agree with you. He needs to go away, but he's more relevant than ever. He was just at the freaking White House.
Yeah.
Like he literally had a secret meeting with President Trump, and then he came back like 2 weeks later for another meeting at the White House. Like he's not irrelevant at all.
Well, look what he watch the end of this segment and see what he has planned for your meat, and then tell me if he's irrelevant. So now what I just showed you is him on 60 Minutes saying we need to get to zero, net zero, no emissions, full stop. Okay. Now he says that's not really the best idea. Now he thinks that human health and prosperity are better goals for climate change. He wrote this as truth number 3. Way to catch up, Bill Gates. This is what people have been saying for decades if you hadn't been burying their research. For instance, this was a major part of Bjorn Lomborg's great book, False Alarm. He wrote that back in 2000. He was not even the first to say it. What he specifically was saying is that serious climate researchers know that prosperity is the best climate policy because when countries get richer, they use better farming techniques, fewer single-use items, families use better ventilated cooking methods. When farming is produced at scale, it is far less wasteful. Now let's talk specifically about meat because climate activists like to say that meat is responsible for 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is total crap. Pun intended, because that is a global average, meaning it takes into account well-run agriculture like we have in the United States and in the UK, and it lumps it together with third world countries who have far more wasteful systems because they have not progressed to better systems yet. In the US, beef production is only responsible for 2.2% of emissions, according to the EPA. Why? Because in the US, we get more efficient every year. In fact, beef emissions have been cut by 30% since the 70s because of innovation or prosperity. So Bill Gates, you're right. This has been available to know for decades. You just didn't bother to. Did you know that 85% of American meat is controlled by just 4 major companies? That's because they don't want you to buy American and be healthy. Buying organic only means they control what cattle you eat. Backyard Butchers has Texas steer steaks that actually come from a real Texas ranch where cattle are raised, processed, and shipped in the same location, bypassed by Big Ag. These are Texas steers, 98% grass-fed, 2% natural grain finish with no growth hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives. The quality and flavor are exceptional. So if you can't care about where your meat comes from, then you need to look into Backyard Butchers. You can make America healthy again. Maha starts with going back to our roots, eating real meat from the hardworking ranchers who raise cattle right now. I've mentioned this a couple of times because I subscribe to Dr. McCullough and Dr. Robert Malone's newsletter. Dr. Robert Malone recently published something about vitamin D3, which you can only get through meat or supplements. You can't get it through plants. Well, if you want to make sure you're getting the best form of vitamin D3, you get it from meat, direct from the source. So go to backyardbutchers.com/redacted. If you enter the promo redacted, you'll get 30% off, 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes, plus free shipping when you subscribe. So fight back against big ag with your fork. Support American ranchers. Support Texas. Backyardbutchers.com/redacted. Don't forget to use the code redacted when you check out. But Bill Gates is now saying that livestock can be fixed with innovation if, here's how he puts it, we give them additives to feed the cattle to keep them from producing methane, or vaccines. Now, he gives us this little clue of how he wants this to happen. See those 2 little hyperlinks there? Okay, one of them is for vaccines. The vaccines for cows is made by a company called Archaea Bio. And yeah, that's exactly what they do, is they give these cows vaccines so that they produce less methane in their farts and their poops and their burps and things like that. Who funds this company? Any guesses?
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation?
Absolutely, that's the case. Take a look at this. This company is, in fact, funded by Bill Gates. The additives that he talks about, this is something you'd give livestock. They eat it in their feed, and they say that then they would produce less methane. It's a synthetic version of a compound that's found in seaweed. It's added to the cow's feed to suppress methane producing microbes in their stomach. Who funds it? Bueller?
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation?
Yes, Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
Bill Gates funds this as well. Absolutely, he's right. So he's saying, yeah, you can eat the meat because I'm going to mess with the meat from the production area. So then we don't have to worry about methane. So yes, friend of Epstein, Bill Gates, is the one who funds these solutions, he says. So, and again, methane, the discussion of methane is crap, pun intended, for 2 reasons. One, most atmospheric methane is actually naturally removed by the atmosphere and soil. Roughly, and number 2, roughly half of global methane emissions come from natural sources like wetlands, volcano. Some of it comes from fossil fuel production. A lot of it comes from the landfill. Like when you throw away a banana, it produces methane. Only 15% of methane emissions come from livestock. So it's barely worth talking about. But still, he thinks it's enough to mess with our food system. Now, Gates is still big on getting methane out of agricultural farming. So he assumes that you don't know any better. You're like, oh yeah, that's a problem. Okay, cow burps. It's really ruining my life. So is it any wonder that he's saying now we can eat meat, it's fine, as long as I am able to get in there and vaccinate them and put this stuff in their feed in order to lower the methane. We just have to eat, we can eat it. He just has to mess with it first. That's why he's changed his position. Whereas once he was very big on plant-based meats, now he realizes that most self-respecting humans won't eat that. So he's changed his tune to a profit model that he can manipulate the meat first. He's also dropping the whole idea of global warming. Now he's saying that temperature is not the best way to measure progress. Again, no duh. Most of us who have read seriously about the climate have known that the climate does fluctuate by 2 degrees Celsius both ways. We have studied the Roman climactic era, where the Earth was more than 2 degrees hotter, had nothing to do with human-caused global warming. We know that this happens naturally. We're cool with it. Way to catch up, Bill Gates. Glad you got the memo. And again, this research was available in 2021 when Bill Gates was telling 60 Minutes that rising temperature was catastrophic, according to his own words. The media just let him say this. They did not bother to study. Again, we've shown you all kinds of data showing that most media coverage, mainstream media coverage of Bill Gates is favorable. Why do you think that is? Could it be profit driven? So now, instead of saving the planet, that was his narrative, now he's sort of rebranding climate change as human optimism. And, you know, who gets to optimize those humans? Him, of course. Now, Clayton, I want to ask you, now that I've shown you what he's doing, do you know any politician that wants to stop him? Anybody? Anybody trying to not let him do this?
I'm going to guess Massey.
Thomas Massey?
Maybe. I'm coming up zero. I don't know specifically that Massey has said much about this. What I'm pointing out to you is that it seems like everyone's going to let him. And how will you know that you get meat that's been given these vaccines?
I don't think it, well, not
Yeah,
to my
I
mind,
literally don't know. I could have looked it up. I just wanted to make the point that it doesn't seem to be a priority in U.S. government to make him stop.
Let's ask Mike Adams. Mike Adams, the health ranger, is here. He runs naturalnews.com. Mike knows all about this stuff. I'm going to have Mike here to talk about another subject in just a second. But hey, Mike is here. We managed to get him on. Glad to have him here. And before Natali has to jump out. So, Mike, great to see you finally on the show. Been waiting to have you on for years. So great to have you here.
Well, it's great to join you. I'm a big fan of the show. And as it happens this week, I'm moving my studio. So this is my backup. I apologize for the technical issues. But you know what that's like when you move.
Oh, yeah.
So here we are.
No worries. Yeah, new media. Don't worry about it. So before we get into the topic I want to talk to you about today on the food program and the food stamps, just real quick before Natali has to jump out of here, are there any politicians like trying to fight against this tyranny, the Bill Gates tyranny, showing up at the White House at all and pushing for this agenda?
Well, I think Thomas Massey is probably your best candidate there because, you know, he grows a lot of his own food and he's got the courage to speak out against establishment moves like that. But, you know, the bottom line is we're all going to have to source our food more locally from farmers that we know and trust. So you can see the cattle in the field. You could ask them, what are they being treated with? What are they being vaccinated with, if anything? We don't want our food modified in this way, but food is a vector of bioweapons introduction. And that's, you know, you could do a whole show on that topic alone.